Can you cater ads to traffic that comes to a specific article or place on your website?
Yes.
Wow.
So you can actually do that for YouTube videos as well.
Wow.
But for, like, let's say somebody comes to a specific page on our website. There'd be two questions. One, do you want to retarget those people? And do you have enough to retarget them?
Okay.
So we tell you guys to serve retargeting or remarketing ads, which just means people have already had an interaction with you, and then you need to serve them another ad, usually if you want to end up getting any sort of conversion.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can have follower ads where you're just trying to get followers on Instagram or Facebook or wherever that sometimes they'll take an action the first time. But if you're talking about website conversions, like buying something off your website or even coming back to your website, retargeting ads are usually the best way to get that done. Now, there's the question of how granular should you get with this? If you don't have a ton of traffic, usually you're not going to be serving retargeting ads based off of one page on your website. So let's say that you have a t-shirt shop and you have 6 different t-shirts on your merch store. You're usually not going to have enough traffic from just one of those t-shirt pages to make a retargeting audience, unless you're getting a lot of traffic. So you usually need to be a pretty big brand to be getting that much traction off of one page.
Okay.
The alternative to that would be to group them into everybody who's visited t-shirt pages on my website. That would be one group or basket. If you don't have enough traffic in that, then you need to broaden it out again to all of my merch on this website. And then, like, let's say you start to get more and more traffic, you can then segment it back out. So it'd be everybody who visited hat pages, everybody who visited t-shirt pages, everybody who visited backpack pages, everybody who visited my songwriting services. Those would be your groups. Until you get enough, which is 1,000 trackable people in the audience. Until you get at least 1,000 of those, you're going to have to keep working on getting more traffic until you can, get to the optimal place of your buyers audience. People, at least 1,000 people trackable who bought something from you. The reason I'm saying trackable is because there's, even before iOS 14 update came, not every single person who purchased was put into like their audience.
Right.
So I want to say it was probably around like 60-70% of the people who took the action were actually placed into that audience on Facebook and Instagram. You can people can still turn off their cookies before that. Your cookies are what tracks you around the web.
Right.
And most websites are going to have, sometimes I have a little pop-up there, especially if you're in the European Union. There's that thing about GDPR last year. All right, so most websites are going to have a pop-up for the EU that says, like, hey, we're having cookies on this website, just so you know. So after that, this year, there was something from Apple called the iOS 14 update, and that makes it easier for people with iPhones to opt out of that retargeting as well. So you don't have to go into your web browser settings and turn off all that stuff. You can just do it easier with the iOS 14.
Right.
So Facebook, if you go inside your Facebook ads now and you're running any conversion ads, there'll be little notices all around about iOS 14 update. Hey, you have to do this now and do that now for the iOS 14 update. And honestly, Facebook was kind of mad about it, which to me was funny because to be quite honest, it's this group of people who have been quite authoritarian in the past 12 months, complaining about somebody else having this option for people. So just to see them butt heads, I was like, well, you're kind of the pot calling the kettle black. But as an aside, so after that came out, you see all these notices, and there's no percentage that we have now, but essentially, if you're doing your retargeting, it's not going to be 100% of the people.
Yeah.
There are ways around your tracking.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, if you go, like if you're making sales on your website, it might not be as accurate inside of your Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
Like the attribution,
Mm-hmm.
which is, let's say that you have 4 different ads going,
Right.
and you need to know which ad is the one that's actually making the sale, so you
Right.
can spend more on that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The attribution might not be as good
Yeah.
in Facebook and Instagram ads right now. So what you can do is there is something called Hyros, which is like third-party tracking that is very specific and can tell you like exactly which ad is responsible for these sales. However, that is pretty expensive for most people. So if you're not doing like at least 10K, 20K a month in sales, probably shouldn't get that.
Okay.
You'll be okay tracking through Facebook and Instagram ads right now, but just know that people can opt out of the retargeting audiences. It's still the best option you have right now,
Mm-hmm.
Aside from an email list.
Okay.
So with the email list, you can just hit people's inbox directly because they already had to opt in.
Right.
To that. With Facebook and Instagram, you didn't have to opt in. I mean, you kind of did because you're using Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
So like you don't have to use Facebook and Instagram. I like to remind people that.
Yeah.
Like, you really don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to use YouTube or any of the big guys.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do,
Mm-hmm.
like, people are going to track you around because the way Facebook and YouTube and Google make money
Mm-hmm.
is through their advertising.
Right.
I think last month YouTube made like $2 billion just from ad revenue alone. So that's their bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
So don't look for them to slow down anytime soon. In fact, look for more people to open up their ad platforms like TikTok and Snapchat did, and Microsoft Ads did as well. So look for more people to do that. But that's how you navigate retargeting these days. If there's more updates, we'll bring them to you guys. But for most artists, this really isn't affecting them too much because most artists still are not doing retargeting ads like they should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the update on it.
That's what's up, man. Sounds good.